Okay. Well, we've got this particular combo, but I don't think it's very good here. I like this life gain. I like this. I don't know if I like it this much, because we're not going to be in position to do it very easily. So I think, if anything, we're developing this first. Although this does get to kill something, in theory, before it gets, cryoed. That's a thought. Cryogenesis really punishes the 4-wins. No, getting life against Vanar is so important. Okay, this isn't great, although Mana Vortex is nice with 4-wins. We can do 4-wins, Mana Vortex this on turn 3. Are we playing the turn 1 Shroud? I don't think so. I think actually we replace it and hope for a better 2-drop, because I want all these other cards. Good. Oh wow. Is that better than Murkblood? Probably, yeah. Just the early board presence is so important, and it doesn't easily die to cryogenesis. It actually contests the board, buys us early tempo. This Murkblood's a good setup card. It's good turn 1 on the draw, going second, but obviously my opponent's going to have a minion, so we're going to want to play the Hailstone Golem to actually contest, probably. Oh, that's scary. So this suggests that we, take the mana tile up here. I'm now really keen on the idea of playing the Murkblood, so I can do this. So I can get a 5/5 4-wins and a 2/2 Arcane Heart next turn. That's pretty spicy. But I think I'd rather just deny my opponent the 5-drop. So do I even keep this? I should probably replace one of these. Actually, the Inner Focus is kind of handy. Maybe I do keep this, because Inner Focusing the extra minion is kind of strong. Like, it's possible I just sort of move up here where I can contest the War Master. Put this guy like here. This does hand my opponent some pretty big mana tiles. No, let's just make the sensible safe play. Play the Hailstone Golem. We can get cute next time. I think I'm actually still keeping this. Like, I can just play this plus this and Inner Focus. No need for the 4-wins yet. And that's great as well. Oh, this could be good. Well, I wonder how this interacts with Fenrir War Master. Which Dying Wish triggers first? Like, in Hearthstone, it's the one that was played first. So if that's the case, Nasher trades into War Master, out pops the wolf, and then the Nasher explodes and kills the wolf. So that's kind of clean. So if we can get a 2-for-2 trade with that, it might be useful. But I fully expect this is just plowing into the hail. Oh, it's not plowing into the Hailstone Golem. I think it might be Nasher time. Oh! Oh, come on! That's so lucky! What on earth? I mean, that did cost my opponent a card, so that's not the worst thing ever. Okay, how does this work? If I do Nash, I almost want to try the Nasher thing, but it doesn't seem worth it. Like, I'd much rather do Murkblood Devourer, make a Heartseeker, give it, Inner Focus it, kill this. Probably then come down here, attack the Ghost Wolf. Ah, but that puts these in the same column. No, I think Reva comes down like here, and this guy goes there. Kills that. I want to play around the Bloodborne spell, obviously. So, I think that means we're going... No, if Reva comes here, then I can put the Murkblood there, where it's relatively safe. Because the Illusionist is a cause for concern as well. Putting these on replacing the Nasher, actually, if I'm using the Inner Focus. That's a good draw as well. Murkblood. Arcane Heart. Focus up. Shoot this. Step over here. Kill the wolf. Step over here. Kill the 2-1. Psycho. I think that worked out okay. Playing a 2/2 range minion for one mana is pretty spicy. We've got the same hands, but I obviously have a superior board. The downside is my opponent's going to start making a bunch of 2-1s behind me, which could be bad. Like, certainly it threatens this couple. Although, if the Prismatic Illusionist moves closer to be nearer this, no, apparently not. Gonna have a 2-1 over here. So we can shoot that and dispel this. We can even walk backwards and use the Shroud. Shiro Puppy Dragon. Another Lightning Blitz. Naturally. Come on. I mean, my opponent's deck is pretty sweet, but I'm a bit miffed that it keeps teleporting things into position to kill my stuff. Although this hasn't moved yet, so I guess that was fairly likely. At least it's not killing the Murkblood. So we can kill Shiro with this plus face. We dispel that, and it doesn't quite die. Awkward. Although we can kill it with the Murkblood Devourer then. Kind of ignore these guys. So, what else am I playing? Am I just playing the Ephemeral Shroud? I'd like to not do that. High Hand is kind of... he's a 5/6 now? It's meh. I think he's replaceable compared to the 4-wins. That's actually a 4/3 with the Murkblood, so that's not too embarrassing. I think I'm going to play this first. I want to pressure my opponent a bit. So you can go here. This is going to come down. This can go here to body block this 3/2 at the risk of taking a bunch of damage. Wait, I did this wrong. This was supposed to hit Shiro in the face. Oh! I forgot a thing. How embarrassing. That's pretty bad. That's very bad. I confused myself. Never mind. Kill this. Or at least dispel it. May as well get rid of it. Hit Shiro. Pass the turn. Yeah, that went wrong. Now my Murkblood's going to die. And my opponent's untapped with a Shiro in play. That's very saddening. I'm also on the cusp of taking a bunch of damage. I can do 4-wins Mana Vortex this next turn, but it'll only be a 1/1 because Murkblood Devourer will be dead. I guess this might trade with the Ephemeral Shroud. My opponent's deck is really strange. Yep. Interesting. What is going on? I mean, if my opponent wants to stand far away from me, that's fine. Like, that's genuinely fine. Because I just play little ranged minions and then win with them, or try to. Oh, crap. Oh my god. That's real scary. Come off it. What the hell? I need an inner focus so I can kill this Frosthorn Rhino. What do I replace for it? Because I also want this to get a bonus ping. No, I think I replace this and look for inner focus. Or some other way of removing this thing. Oh, crap. This might be the end of our run, kids. Okay, I can play the Nasher in the way. Although it just dies to the Snow Chaser, so that's not very helpful. I'm definitely going to run away now. Because these infiltrate things are obviously pretty scary. So I think we're going to go... I'd love to body block with Nasher in a position where this will have to go through it, but this can't trade with it, but I don't think that's possible. So I think we're just going this way, this way. Let's play a Forwinds Magi, and I think I'm actually going to use this to body block the... No, it's not worth it, because it'll be infiltrated. Play this, get the trigger. It's reasonably good, but obviously this is going to be dead. Oh! Damn it! Thinking too hard, forgot about the Bloodborne spell. Punished. This should probably be like... I guess there's nowhere actually good to put it. Balancing the Snow Chaser is probably still worthwhile though. So my opponent gets to attack for 6 with this thing. How does that work with the celerity? Like if it moves outside, does it become exhausted? Guess we'll find out. My opponent's still on 24. Only 2 cards in hand though. They've played a lot of epics, haven't they? Like the 2 lightning blitzes and the rhino itself. How does this deck come together? This is like completely bizarre. Interesting. Ah, crap. Although the Forwinds Magi is reasonably good against this artifact. So this is going to get in for 3 and then go away. That's good. Does that guy still get to attack? I can't tell. No, good, okay. Inner Focus would be the perfect top deck, right? Because we Inner Focus, I guess Killing Edge, and then the Forwinds Mega clears the artifact. I can go up here and hit this. This dies. Come on, Inner Focus. I mean, that's a thing. It's probably better than nothing, although kind of need the Killing Edge as well. I cannot afford to take all this damage. So if I Killing Edge the Forwinds, trade the Skyrock, she goes to 16, hit her in the face for 8, sorry, 15 because of the trigger. I'm on 15 as well. We still play the Gorehorn. Alternatively, we play the Gorehorn and the Killing Edge, get the trigger. No, because we have to... Yeah, I think I have to use the Killing Edge to trade with the... Do I? I think I have to... Maybe I hit this with my face. Let's just jam this. Let's do this. Let's do this and ignore the Rhino, I think. I'm just gonna go and, like... Oh, I can't move. Oh! Oh, that timer bug. I really needed to move because now these can hit me. Oh, that timer. Why you gotta do this to me? Still, we probably win the game if my opponent doesn't kill me now, but I imagine we're dead. Yeah, of course we are. Right, well that was... No, that's 1. She's got a chromatical or something, right? Damn it! That stupid timer! If I'd have moved, I'd have won the game. Oh well, we still got the extra free win. And that means we get an extra run. We got to 7 wins, which means we get the extra free run. That's the word I'm looking for. I hope. Good, okay. I got a bit worried there. It's quite a lot of gold, actually. It's not terrible prizes. Right. Yeah, that was interesting. So, definitely made some mistakes today. I'm very tired. Definitely playing worse than usual. That timing error at the end was pretty annoying, because I think we could have won otherwise. But other than that, I think the deck's pretty... the deck was alright. I think we definitely had some clunk. The lack of good 2-drops was a big problem. Meant that I couldn't reliably or confidently play something on turn 1, and we had a lot of chaff that we were replacing. It's one of those decks where you have a good start, but then you realize your hand is 4 cards that you never wanted to cast for the entire run because they're just bad. And then you lose because you're essentially holding nothing. So we did have a couple of games of that. Generally, though, I think that actually worked out a lot better than I was expecting, especially after the start we had. I think we went something like 2-2 to 4-2 in the first video. No, I think we went 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. But either way, getting those early losses didn't really fill me with confidence, especially compared to the previous run where I went 7-0 before getting my first loss. So I think we still did pretty well considering. Like, I mean, we got the 7 wins, which it seems that I'm actually hitting reliably now, which is really satisfying. Definitely happy with that. Other than that, I don't know. I feel like I made quite a few mistakes today. I'm not very happy with how I played. Definitely miffed with that timer bug, but we can learn from that. I think like having a little bit more time in each turn would actually really help me, because narrating what you're doing obviously takes a while when you're streaming, and plays in Duelyst are generally not very obvious. The game is quite complex. So if I had a bit more time in some of my turns, I would have been able to make slightly better plays that might have swung games. I mean, we only had 1 loss today as it turned out, but there was another turn where I couldn't do everything I would have done in the ideal scenario because I didn't have time because I was roping. I forget exactly what it was, but sort of I don't mind there being a rope. Like, you need to have a timer in a game like this, because otherwise people will just waste each other's time. So having a 90-second turn timer is not a big deal, because when your opponent's sitting and doing this much thinking like we're doing, it's a relatively slow experience from the other side, right? You just sit and wait. That's not very fun. So having a close turn timer keeps things moving, keeps people engaged. So I completely understand why the turn timer is there. But oh my god, I keep running into it. I need to speed up my play. I'm not sure how to do that. There's still a lot to think about, and I'm still learning. So that would help. Just being able to dismiss options more quickly would be pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm definitely surprised that we got to 7 wins, considering A, what I thought of the deck after I drafted it, and B, what I thought of the deck after the first few matches in the last week in the last stream. I'm glad we did make it, but I was expecting maybe like 4 or 5 wins, and fearing worse when we started out. So I'm pretty happy that we made it this far, especially considering how badly I was playing for some of those turns. But yeah, I think this definitely shows that not all Songhai decks are, that insane. However, it does also show that, what covered the fact that our deck was bad. Well, we had some good synergy. We had a few nice combos that we could do to take over the board or achieve inevitability. Like, we had Raver's ridiculous Bloodborne spell on the side. That's such a big deal. And there were a couple of games where the opponent ran away, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, especially the game with Kalios, where he backed off, and now he's kind of forced to manually maneuver all his stuff closer to me, whereas I can sit on the other side of the board and just play ranged minions until we win. The same with the Faye matchup. When she ran away, I thought that was good for me. Didn't work out, because that Frosthorn Rhino was pretty scary. I made some errors, and then we ended up losing the race. But generally, I was pretty happy when Faye moved over there, because I thought, oh, okay, I can just kill the Shiro and then start developing ranged minions. I needed to run away from the Frosthorn Rhino because I was not in the mood for taking 14 damage from it. But generally speaking, without that sort of threat, being far away from your opponent as a River player enormously advantages you. Just getting a bit of space between the two of you makes a huge difference. There's another reason why Grandmaster Zendo was so good for us, because we can just run away then. We play Zendo and the opponent sits there and, flails at him, or whichever other minion we've positioned for them to run into repeatedly. And we just, shove off and sit on the other side of the board making Heartseekers. And then we win, because either the opponent dies to Zendo, manipulating them and into throwing themselves into Silverbeak repeatedly, or we just kill them with the Heartseekers and the value we generate. So just, even though we had a kind of crappy deck, any match where we were able to, almost any match where we were able to put space between us and the enemy, including their minions. I guess the Faye match didn't really count because a lot of her board presence was actually next to us, including especially the Rhino. But because we were able to put space between us and the opponent, that just hands us turns to just do whatever we want with developing the Heartseekers. And against everybody except Cassiver, they have to have cards in their deck that stop that. They have to have Blistering Scorns or Blood Tear Alchemists or Spirit Harvester, which is actually really good because it keeps killing them. But most of these are one-shot effects. They don't work every single turn, so we can just sit there and develop. And part of the reason ranged minions are so powerful in Gauntlet is they require not that much setup. Like, if your opponent's pressuring you, it is hard to find a space to play a ranged minion. That's something I'm learning, is playing minions safely when you're being attacked. But when you're playing and the two of you naturally end up at a distance from each other, either because of something you've done on purpose, or because it's turn one, or they've had to chase off to kill something else, or they decided to retreat because they wanted to preserve themselves, you just get all this free value as Raven. It's really strong. So I think that was a big part of why we managed to make it. The deck wasn't good per se, but it did have some intrinsic Songhai-ish stuff, the killing edges and so on. But mostly it just had that great Bloodborne spell that allowed us to take advantage of basically any chink in the opponent's armor. Anytime there was a little gap in the match where we got to develop some Heartseekers, we just suddenly put the opponent under pressure because the threat, the invisible killing edge cast on every single Songhai minion is just so hard to deal with, both mentally and actually on the board. God forbid we actually have a killing edge. Even if we don't, the little repeated pings are just really useful. But a big part of the difficulty of playing against Songhai is the invisible killing edge. You could just be dead at any point. And so you play very defensively. With, for instance, like why I didn't attack against Kalios. I didn't want to risk him being able to teleport the Bone Reaver back over and just whack us for 11 and draw the game. Which I'm pretty sure counts as a loss in Gauntlet. I don't, given we were 6 and 2, I didn't want to run the experiment. Obviously he didn't actually have those cards, but you generally have to respect that they will. I'm not at the stage yet in Duelyst where I can just point at someone and say, you have these in hand. It's very difficult to get a body language read on someone, obviously, when they're over the internet, but it takes a lot of game knowledge to get the sort of read from their play pattern. Like, on the ladder, you can generally tell. You can kind of lay down bait. It's like, if you have natural selection, you'll probably kill this. You did a natural selection by Lantern Fox, you're probably not holding one. Because it's just too good a target to pass up. And then other times you might say, I'm going to bait a Plasma Storm so I can play this Pandora. So you play a couple of 3-power minions in awkward positions, and your opponent goes, Plasma Storm. Or they don't, and you say, well, maybe they don't have it. Or they saw through the bluff, and you kind of try and figure that out. In Gauntlet, I'm definitely struggling with that because no deck has a very consistent play pattern. Like, it's pretty often Songhai will have Killing Edge, and generally it's pretty safe to assume they have one because it's a basic card, so there's quite likely to be a couple in their deck. It's, you pick it over almost anything because of how well it goes with your Bloodborne spell, all your creatures. It's just a very strong card for dealing damage, getting tempo on the board. It's very powerful. So I haven't yet gotten to the point where I can look at a game against a Songhai player and say they don't have a killing edge. They would have used it because they so often have something else to do. Phoenix Fire is a bit easier, but Killing Edge is tough because Songhai, you can just sit there and save up your resources. You can play cat and mouse. You don't have to commit your Killing Edges until you're going to get huge value out of them. So there's no real reason to just plonk down the killing edge at any particular point, even if it would, even if it would be great on the current board. There's usually something else you can do, some other development. You know, if you play a threat and the opponent runs away and plays a couple of creatures instead of killing it, that doesn't mean they don't have removal. It might mean they're just setting up to shoot you in the face for 15 next turn. So, I'm still finding it very difficult to tell. So that's definitely something I want to develop, and that would help when I'm trying to make those decisions between do I take the aggressive or the defensive line, because against Songhai in particular it's very difficult.